see how well it works today with the comments, because as you know, if you've been around for a while, that I have been having issues with people leaving comments, and I have to like click all these buttons rather than it just showing up. Oh, I am feeling good. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope that you guys are excited for the weekend. If you saw, I think it was the newsletter that went out this morning, and I've been posting more on LinkedIn because I got a coach, and this coach is kicking my butt, which is the point of a coach, right? Like, that's why you hire a coach, because they will push you harder than you push yourself. And so I got I got this coach. He's kicking my butt, but I just signed up on Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember, but already I am seeing results in just my psyche and like wrapping my head around. I mean, the main thing that this guy is focused on, although he helps entrepreneurs like increase revenue and do marketing and like all that stuff, his big focus is helping executives with work-life balance, which, if you've heard me, pretty much talk about how I'm like in my cave and I'm working all the time and all this stuff that I do for you. And so I was just like at a breaking point. And so I have to click the buttons and I have to do this thing. And anyway, I was just like about at a breaking point. And so I finally bit the bullet and signed up for this program. And I'm already seeing a difference. So so that is great, and I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm feeling good. I wanted to share with you, those of you who are in the cohort, and if you don't know what the cohort is, I'll talk to you more about the cohort at the end. But for those of you who are in the cohort, I shared on Wednesday, some of the mindset stuff, some of the stuff that he's having us do, that is like way more intense than what we make you do in the cohort. But he also shared a mindset nugget that I just thought was such a brilliant example that I wanted to share it with you. We used to have Mindset Monday in this group. I would hop on, I would do a little, mindset check-in. I stopped doing that. And now like all the mindset stuff happens in the cohort instead of in the free group. But this was just so good that I just wanted to share with everybody. Okay. So here's what it is. So he believes that you should have 100% clarity, 100% belief, and 100% of the time. So you need to have a super clear vision of what you want. And for those of you who went through my Saeed training, which that was another thing I experimented with in the group for a while. Like, Saeed training is about helping you develop a crystal clear vision for yourself. Anyway, so you have to have a crystal clear vision of the life that you want, and you have to have a 100%. So it has to be 100% crystal clear, 100%. And you have to have 100% belief that will actually happen. And he said, and here's the part. He said, let me tell you how strong that belief has to be. He said, I want you to imagine that somebody gave you $10 million. He said, I don't know what you did, why you got it, or whatever, but they gave you $10 million. And they didn't write you a check. He said it's a money order, so it's like actual real money. And you go to the bank and you go to deposit this money in the bank. And the bank says, wow, like this is so exciting. This is so awesome that somebody gave you $10 million. But we can't actually put it in your account for 10 days. There's a 10-day hold on all sums of this size. So there's going to be a 10-day hold after which the money will be released to you. And he said, how would you feel for the next 10 days? Like how would it feel in your body? You would be like so excited. You would be so excited, like, oh my gosh, in 9 days, in 8 days, in 7 days, like I'm gonna have this thing. Oh my gosh, and he said that feeling, that level of certainty is what you need to have, what you need to walk around with you all of the time. And anyway, I just thought that was such a powerful example. He also, another thing he talks about is living in forward motion. So he said, always claim your future as your present. That's not exactly the words he uses, but he said, and I thought about you guys because I thought, you have like this vision, this idea of like being a bookkeeper, but you kind of feel like you can't claim the idea that you are a bookkeeper or you are a pro advisor, or you are, an advisor, or whatever it is, whatever your goal is. You feel like you can't claim that until like something happens, some trigger happens, or whatever. And his advice would be to just claim it now. Claim, we are the world leader in accounting education at Acadian. We are the world leader in accounting education. Well, maybe not, but I'm going to claim it, darn it, right? So anyway, just my introductory thoughts. It feels like I had another thing that I wanted to mention that I put in my notebook, which I did not bring in the studio. So if I think of it, then I will let you know. Okay. All right. Uyi says she is claiming it. I think you're already doing a great job of that, because I have heard you say like that you are the e-commerce expert, right? And I don't know how many clients you have in e-commerce, but seeing you like just step out there and say, yes, this is my niche, this is my specialty, this is, this is who I am. Sherry says, maybe that's why I struggle with discovery calls. I am now claiming it. Oh my gosh, yes, you guys, claim it. Claim it. People can tell if you are not secure in yourself. And they may sign up with you anyway, depending on like how desperate they are or how convinced they are, like by your marketing materials. I mean, that has definitely happened to me. Like I hired somebody who in the interview, I could tell that she was super nervous, but I knew from like her marketing materials and like stuff that she had written, I knew that she was the right person, and I knew like I was gonna hire her anyway, even though she was nervous. So sometimes that happens, but in general, like not being confident is a big turnoff. So anyway, all right, let's get to work. I always tend to talk, and we need to work today. Okay, so if you are new, if you're watching this on YouTube, I always do this little intro specifically for you guys, or the ones that are watching it on YouTube later, because those of you who are here live, you guys know exactly where we are and what we're doing. So welcome. My name is Margie Remmers-Davis. I'm the founder and CEO of Acadian Accounting Education, and this is our free, what's it called? Live stream. I don't know what happened to my brain all of a sudden. This is our live stream that we hold every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, inside our free Facebook group called the QBO Gym Locker Room. The Locker Room is your spot for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. As a member of the Locker Room, in addition to this live stream, which if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, you can watch the recording. But if you're live, then you get to interact with me, ask questions, you get the exercise we're going over today. And you also, as a member of the Locker Room, get this free QBO QuickStart course. So this course teaches you how to sign up for your free QuickBooks Online accountant account, what's different about the accountant account from a regular subscription that a business owner would use, how to navigate workflows, and of course it has hands-on exercises so you can actually practice what you are learning. And as a member of the Locker Room, you automatically got this course when you joined. So we asked you for your email, and this is why, so that we can send you your course. So if you signed up and you didn't get the course, you can't find it, you don't know what, please write to support@acadian.com. That's AKADIAN. And we'll get you squared away. It happens all the time. People type the wrong email address. I'm so-and-so at gmail.co or whatever. So we try and catch the obvious ones like gmail.co, but because it is a manual process to put you in, we try and catch those. But if you're Shelly and it's 2 L's and you accidentally typed only 1 L, then, we're not going to catch that. So anyway, make sure, make sure you check your junk, spam, promotions, all that good stuff. You know how it goes. But write to us if you can't find it, and we will help you. Also, by being a member of the Locker Room, you get access to over 100 free exercises. So you get a handful of exercises in the QuickStart course, but then you get tons more because we're all about hands-on practice. We are all about doing the thing. If you guys follow me on LinkedIn, this is another thing that my coach is kicking my butt about is posting, because I don't personally post a lot on LinkedIn. He really wants us to post on Instagram. And I'm not on Instagram at all. So this is one of my things that I have to do. So if you guys are on Instagram, please like me, follow me, whatever you do on Instagram. I don't know anything about Instagram, but that's going to happen. So right now I'm just posting on LinkedIn. And one of the things, actually, let me take myself off little tiny, because if you guys are new, you might not know this. So on LinkedIn, I posted this little video that caught my attention yesterday that just made me laugh and laugh and laugh, because it's about reading. And I am not a good reader. I don't have a learning disability. I have a brain disorder. And so it just makes it difficult to read. It's not the same as dyslexia, in which dyslexia actually the words, there's a problem seeing the words. It's more of making that connection. That the brain disorder is about visualizing things in your head. And so I have oh my gosh, Uyi. Guys, I'm not on Instagram. If you found something on Instagram that is like hopelessly old, it's like back a million years ago when I was a professional organizer, I tried to be on Instagram. If you found me, like, that's what it is. There was a Fast and Easy QBO page at one point. I don't know like what you guys are. I'm not on Instagram yet. I will let you know when I'm on Instagram and I'm ready for you guys to follow me. Anyway, so I was talking about aphantasia is the name of the brain disorder, and I can't visualize things. So the problem with reading is that it requires you to visualize. And so anyway, the fact that I cannot visualize is the reason that I'm a good teacher, and the reason why our courses are the way that they are, because it doesn't eliminate reading. There's still, I can read, like, it's not about reading. Functional reading is fine. But there is still reading, but it's all of our courses are video based, hands-on, interactive activities. Like, you're doing the thing. It's all about like learning by doing. That's what we are. That almost our Acadian like little you can't read it because it's fancy fuzzy, but it is our little tagline is accounting for everyone, which I picked because I liked the double entendre. So it's like, it's double. I mean, although Joel gives me a hard time, and he probably will in the chat, it's not technically a double entendre, a double meaning. I love the double meaning of accounting for everyone because it's both accounting and then it is, like taking care of everyone. So anyway, but our second choice was learning by doing. Like, it almost said Acadian learning by doing under that. Anyway, because that's what we're all about. All right. Ooh, you watched the video. Yeah. What are you even talking about? Yeah, that was funny. The one that like cracked me up was like, there's words on every page. All right, let's get back to work. Guys, we're here to work. We're here to do hands-on practice. So you get 100 free exercises so you can have hands-on practice. And people are always asking me where to find those. The place you find them is in the featured section. So here in the featured section, there's also a tab here. If you're on your phone, there's like a little hamburger up in the upper left-hand corner that lets you go to the different tabs. And right here is a post that says over 100 free hands-on exercises. And inside, their link to the exercises is inside that post. Now, because there are so many exercises, we're noticing that it's taking a little bit of time to load. So please give it a second before you write to us and say, it's not there. Okay, so give it a second. If it doesn't load, then let us know. But make sure, like, Google Chrome is always better, even though I'm a Safari person. Google Chrome's always better, and then also give it a second because we're just adding it. There might be close to 200 in there now. I don't know. All right. So that's the over 100 free exercises. Then we also have a free exercise of the week. And and that's what we're doing today is we're going over the exercise of the week. Now, the exercise of the week is part of a paid program that we have. So everything I've been talking about is 100% free, but we also have a paid program called the QBO Gym. So people get this confused. The locker room, that's the free part. The gym itself, that's the paid part. And the QBO Gym is an immersive, it is an immersive simulated experience of being a bookkeeper. So if you have ever said to yourself, I passed the test, but I still don't really feel like I know what I'm doing, or what does a bookkeeper do every day anyway? or I wish that I could get an internship, or I wish that I could follow, just shadow somebody to see what it's like being a bookkeeper. If you have ever said those things to yourself, then that is the purpose. That's why we created the QBO Gym. We created the QBO Gym for you. You get an entire year where you work with a fictitious business owner. And by year, I don't mean a calendar year. It is a year in the life of this fictitious business owner. But it only takes about 42 real-time hours to complete. So in about 42 real-time hours, you can get a whole year's worth of experience being a bookkeeper. So the QBO Gym is all tied to Booksmatch. So everything, and apparently Ellen, I don't know, my assistant pulled up Ellen today. Ellen was last week. Let's see. Maybe we need to see if Ellen is still. I remember Ellen because Ellen had not. Oh, here we go. Billy's in charge, or Billy's on top today. I remember Ellen because she had not updated her profile picture. But, oh, great. And now, oh, there we go. Okay. So, oh, guys, this is the first time I've seen over 500 skills verified. This is awesome. So what I was saying is that the QBO Gym is linked to what we call Booksmatch. Booksmatch is our proprietary platform where we are tracking all of the work that you do in the gym. And you can see that it is, so Billy has verified over 519 skills. We have skills grouped, and there are these 10 skill groups, and you can click on any one of those and see and drill down and see what exactly he was working on. Then you can compare yourself. I said Billy, but this is you. So you can drill down and see what you were working on. Then you can compare yourself to everybody else. So the top bar here, or the solid color one, is you, and then the gray one is the average of everybody else. And then the reason we do this is that we want to show you off to the world. Like, we thought, we have all these people who are working hard in the gym. Why not show you off and say, hey, look, world, at our amazing bookkeepers, don't you want to hire them? So that's what we did. So we created this Booksmatch platform, which comes with the QBO Gym automatically. All you have to do is just stay active in the gym. And then we're tracking 3 key metrics. So the first metric that you see here is knowledge. That's the breadth of knowledge, the total number of skills you've verified since the beginning of time. But we don't want our new people to be at a disadvantage for, like some people have been around, since we launched 2 years ago, and we don't want them to have an advantage over the people who are brand new, but like kicking butt to, get, verify lots and lots of skills. So that's why we developed this other metric, which is speed. And speed does not mean how quickly you get through an exercise, but how many skills that you verify and that you work on in a given week. Okay. So that kind of balances out so that it's not always the old people, the people who have been around a long time, that are ranked high. We take this. Plus, this metric is consistency, which is actually the highest. This is we look at consistency first and then the other things. And the reason that we have consistency is because we developed this with a recruiter, and she said that her number one pet peeve was reaching out to people who were no longer looking. And so what she wanted us to develop a check-in where, like, every week you just check in. Yes, I'm still looking. Yes, I'm still looking. Yes, I'm still looking. And we thought that every week was a bit excessive. So that's why we do it now every 2 weeks. And then instead of just a check-in, we thought, well, why don't we make them do an exercise? And that way we know that they're always refining their skills. So So anyway, so we combine all of these things to rank you, and then that's how you get there. And then we are promoting you. Like you have a little button that that allows you. You can. I wonder if I should show an actual person. Anyway, there's a little button that says open to work. So you can turn on that button and have it be open to work, or you can have it be just to yourself. And then there's also a little share link, so you can actually share your profile on your social media stuff and like all of that stuff. We are promoting, we're promoting you, but we ran into a little bit of a snag so there's kind of these 3 groups that we're promoting. I don't want to take up too much time because we're supposed to be exercising, but we ran into a snag in our second group. So the first group we started, well, actually we ran into snags with both of them. The first group that we started promoting you to, just because it was easiest, was people who were on, who had bookkeeper listings on Monster and Indeed. And so we started reaching out to all these people, thousands and thousands, and said, hey, look, come look at our bookkeepers. What we found with that, the snag with that, was that so many of you don't want a job, and what they were posting was a job, like a W-2 job, or a W, yeah. And so so one of our things this year is we're going to revamp it so that it's more obvious, where you can specify, are you open to a job, or do you really just want freelance work? Okay, so we're revamping Booksmatch to do that. Oh, look, Billy's on the call. And congratulations, Billy, for being number 1. For a moment, it changes all the time. Then the second group we're doing that. The second group that we started reaching out to were accounting firms. And we reached out to accounting firms, and I actually have a full-time person who calls accounting firms and to tell them about you guys. And what we discovered was that people were more interested in, or the accounting firms were more interested in your accounting knowledge than your QBO knowledge. And this is all about QBO. So we're developing a new product called the Bookkeeping Accelerator. And today, actually, we're going to be doing an exercise from the Bookkeeping Accelerator. Before I hop over we're going to actually do an exercise. Gosh, why do I talk so long, guys? Okay, let's see. So Maura says, okay, so Maura's asking about the second year of the gym. Before I do that, let me just explain. So the QBO Gym is a full year of experience. As I said, it takes you 42 real-time hours to get through the gym. You get a year of experience. You get a certificate at the end that says that. I'm suddenly wondering what happened to that. We have a rebranded certificate. Now I'm wondering what happened to that. I gotta follow up on that. Right, because I think right now you're getting Fast and Easy QBO certificates, which is our former name, but we have new Acadian certificates coming. Anyway, so at the end of the year you get a certificate. Yes, I have 1 year of experience, woohoo! And we're also going to be developing a transcript, so that you have a record of everything that you learned during that time. Then you can go to year 2. You can move on to year 2. It's all included, same price. And year 2 is a little bit more challenging. So it is all of the same thing that you did in year 1, but now you have to, in year 1, you're given step-by-step instructions. Do this, do this, do this, do this. Whereas in year 2, it just says, okay, go create the invoice. Whereas in year 1, you'll see it says, okay, click plus new, then click invoice, whatever. And the other one says, okay, go click the invoice. Okay, so, and then also in year 2, we introduce AI Craig, which is an opportunity for you to actually interact with the business owner. All right, now let's go see Maura's question. Okay. In the second year of the gym, I noticed when I started February exercises that it kept referring to the previous exercises. Okay, so yes, because that's what happened. It's the same scenarios. You're doing the same thing, but now we're asking, like, do you remember how to do it? Now I'm thinking I will have to start over in January and continue the exercises through February in one sitting. No, you don't have to. You don't have to start over. They're all designed. Every month is self-contained, so they don't rely on knowledge from the previous month. And let's see. And in year 2, you're only the year 1 links are only for reference if you forgot how to do it. So year 2, we want you to, for example, create an invoice. And if you're like, oh crap, I don't remember how to create an invoice, which you better remember how to create an invoice. And if you think, oh crap, I don't know how to do that, then you can reference year 1 because that has the step-by-steps. That's why that's there. It's not because you have to have done it in the sample company and save it. It's all the same. Okay. Billy says, I really enjoyed the January exercise. Seeing what causes various errors and how to correct them provided clarity on these issues shown in the exercise. All right, excellent. Yeah, so every issue, we call them issues because when we first created it, we thought it was going to be more like a magazine. And then we decided, you know what? No, we're just going to do this self-contained. So every issue of the gym, it starts with February for reasons. It goes February through January. And every issue is broken down into what we call warm-ups, cardio, strength training, and cool down. And the strength training portion is all focused on a specific feature of QBO that you have to use. So throughout the year, all sorts of things happen to Craig in his business, and they all relate to specific features of QBO. So in February, what you're focusing on is estimates and purchase orders. And then in March, it's project tracking. Then it's billable charges. We just had somebody post in the group how life-changing this lesson this month was, because she's like, what? I had no idea that was a feature in QBO. That's going to help my clients. Anyway, I can't remember who that was. Okay. Let's see. Did I answer the question? Oh yeah. So the focus in January is all about cleanup. And we keep that we put that at the end, even though it's January. We made it the last month, so that you would develop some muscle throughout the year of QBO, because it's kind of like a more advanced topic. So that's why we put it at the end. And it is a thing that you would, maybe do in January, clean up the previous year to get ready for taxes. Shylove, Joel is going to put the link in the chat if you haven't already, or Lindsay did. Yeah. So you can go to the page, you can see the sales page, you can learn all about it. Maura says she got the certificate for year 1. Brenda says, I love year 2. It challenges your knowledge. Kara says, oops, where'd it go? It is referring to exercises in the month, not the past months. Yes. So they're all, like I said, they're all self-contained. Lindsay says, it looks like the first exercise in February year 2 is the start. Then you keep that sample company open. Oh yeah. So you can see when you're doing the exercises. There are times, yes. So June says there are times when you need to complete the exercise in the same sample company session, and we do tell you that. We mark them so you know. Lillian says, I don't remember getting a certificate for year 1 after completing, so write to support@acadian.com, AKADIAN, and we can take a look at that to see what happened. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think all the questions are answered, and we will get to work here doing some, what the heck happened to my, hopefully I've got that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait, is that right? Okay. All right. I think it's good to go. All right. I think I'm good. Let's do some exercising, guys. Let's do it. All right. So the exercise of the week is a separate course. So for those of you who have the gym, it might not be unlocked. Everything in the gym is gamified. So you're earning points. There's bells and whistles and badges and all this fun stuff. And once you earn 250 points, and you can track your how many points you've earned by clicking this little drawer at the bottom. Once you've earned 250 points, the exercise of the week will unlock. So you might be subscribed to the gym and not have the exercise of the week, which is fine. The only reason you have the exercise of the week is to keep your stats up, but you have plenty of work to do to keep your stats up. So it's all good. And then Joel's gonna put the link to today's exercise in the chat, and so you guys can follow along. If you do have the gym, you want to make sure and use the link that is inside here in order to get your Booksmatch points. Using the link that Joel puts in the chat does not give you Booksmatch points. So make sure that you're using the link here, the link to start it, and then the link to finish it, okay? All right, so here is today's exercise. As I mentioned, today's exercise comes from our new course, which is called the Bookkeeping Accelerator. So I mentioned that once we started calling the accounting firms, we started calling the accounting firms, and we discovered that what they really wanted you to know was not QBO, which is helpful, but they really wanted to know that you knew accounting features, like that you knew accounting principles and bookkeeping and how to actually do bookkeeping. And so we said, well, we've never created a course like that. We have always been just QBO focused. But sure, we could use our same methodology, our same video-based, hands-on practice, interactive learning, all of that makes us who we are and makes our courses so good. The reason why people, reason why people love us and love our material, because it breaks it down in such a way that you can actually get it, right? So we're like, well, we can apply that same philosophy to anything, and we can apply it to bookkeeping. So we are currently building what we're calling the Bookkeeping Accelerator, and this course is like no other bookkeeping course on the market. The difference between the Accelerator and every other, there are like a bajillion bookkeeping courses out there, and you probably have all taken them. You've all taken them somewhere, but all of those courses just skim the surface of bookkeeping. The purpose of many of those courses is to just get you up and running fast, to know skim the surface, know the basics, so that you can go out and tell the world that you are a bookkeeper, okay? And that's fine. A lot of people start that way. I started that way, okay? I started that way. I took one of those internet courses, and that's how I learned, okay? But that's not what the accounting firms want. That's not what the CPAs want. What they don't want a bubblegum bookkeeper. They want somebody who has a deep knowledge of accounting principles, that really understands why you are doing the things that you're doing, that really understands how the numbers, like how what you're doing relates, what you're doing here relates to the reports over here, how to check your work so that they can be confident that when you pass off your work to them, they are getting, quality work. So that's what the Bookkeeping Accelerator is. It's not the same as all of those other courses. It is designed specifically with the accountants in mind and what they want, okay? All right. So today's exercise, so what I mentioned a couple weeks ago, maybe at the start of the year, that we are now, this year, we are going to be rotating exercises that highlighting different things. Okay, so once a month we're going to have a Bookkeeping Accelerator focused lesson. Once a month we're going to have a level 1 lesson, a level 2 lesson. We're going to be starting this month. I thought it was going to be today, but we ran into a snag. We're going to have niche training once a month. And then on the 5th, when there is a fifth Friday, Corey is going to come in and teach a cleanup exercise. So anyway, so today is our theme is the accelerator. Joel, Lisa is saying that she's not seeing the link. So could you repost it? If I scroll up a little bit on mine, Lisa, I see it right there. So before this particular exercise, in the accelerator, what you have learned about is matching the chart of accounts to the tax forms based on the entity. So you're learning about the different, not every single entity, just the big four. You learn about sole proprietorships, partnerships, S corps and C corps, okay? And the fourth, anyway, so we're learning about the big four, and we just had right before this lesson, we had a big lesson on adjusting the chart of accounts to the Schedule C for a sole proprietor. Okay, so that's the lead up to this exercise. But so some of the screenshots will reflect that you have already done that exercise. But obviously together we have not done that exercise, but that's okay. As it says here, the account structure is not important to this exercise. So we're just going to be talking about adding expenses and processing bank feeds, which is that's the focus of the lesson. Okay. All right. So the Bookkeeping Accelerator is you don't have to have an accountant account in order to do the accelerator. So you can just use the regular QBO account, and there is a link right there. So this is where we're going to practice. Okay. Let me read the scenario here. Okay, so here's our assignment. Craig has given you a receipt for some equipment he rented from Ellis Equipment Rental, which he paid for with his debit card. Record the receipt, then process the bank feeds that have come in. Okay. All right. So we've loaded the sample company. Now we're going to go ahead and enter that expense. Now you'll notice that when I highlight over this step, it says guide me. All of our exercises are done using a thing called Scribe, which has a Google extension. So if you go to your Chrome web store and look for the extension it's here, it's called Scribe. You can load that extension. When you have it loaded, you can see here on my browser. Then when I'm doing the exercise, if I have the sample company open already and I click guide me, this magic happens. I have to click confirm. Okay, this magic happens, and you have the exercise on the right and the sample company on the left. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. It makes it so much easier to do. And then you can adjust to bigger or smaller based on your screen. Okay? All right. So remember, Craig has given you the receipt for some equipment he rented. Okay, Ellis Equipment Rental. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is enter the expense. Okay, so I'm going to hit plus new, then I'm going to hit expense. We've got an AI pop-up here, so we're going to close that. Okay, under payee, we're going to click Ellis Equipment Rental. Ellis Equipment Rental. And then he said that he used his debit card. Okay, so that means it came right out of his checking account. So right now, the payment account says MasterCard. The reason that it says MasterCard right now is because that was the last one that we had for Ellis Equipment Rental. Notice that this information came across automatically. That is a setting in accountant settings where you can decide whether to pre-fill from the last transaction. And that's a decision if you, like, for yourself, if you want to, if it makes sense for your client to do that. Some clients, it does make sense. Other clients, it doesn't. Some it does, some it doesn't. Okay, so this is a decision. In the sample company, they have it turned on so it always pre-fills. Okay, so this is what it was last time. We're going to make sure and select checking. Now, this payment account, we talk about this, well, it's in the exercise. This payment account is critical for matching when it comes to the bank feeds. Okay, so when you are matching the bank feeds, which is what we're going to do at the later half of this exercise, you're doing it by account. Of course, this is all explained previously in the course, but I just want to point that out now. Okay, so I'm selecting checking. All right, Billy says he has installed the scribe extension, but the exercise doesn't have the guide me button. You have to hover over, I can't get to it now, but you have to hover over that right-hand corner in the first white box, the first white instruction box. Well, actually, no, it's right here. So this one right here, step 1, that says plus new in the right hand corner, this is where that guide me button is going to be. All right, Billy's got it figured out. Good. Okay. All right, so this payment account, super, super important because otherwise matching is not going to work. Okay. All right, in a real life scenario, you're going to want to make sure that the payment date matches the date on the receipt, but in the sample company, the dates are always changing, so none of our courses really include dates typically, okay? Then the payment method is super important if it is a contractor that you're paying, okay? So if this is somebody that you're going to issue a 1099 to, it's super important that you track the payment method. We're not going to do that, okay? All right, so now let's talk about the category details. We're just going to scroll right here. Okay, so one of the things that we talk about in the accelerator is the difference between operating expenses, which are OPEX and sometimes called OPEX, and COGS, which is the cost of goods sold. Every time that you record an expense, you have to think to yourself, is this something that is for the general operating of the business? Okay, would you pay this if you had no customers? Okay, would you pay this if you had no customers? Then, and it is the general operating of the business, then it's operating expenses. And if it is specific to the thing that you are selling, that it is part of the cost of goods sold, okay? So for a landscaping company, which is what Craig is, if renting equipment could be either, okay? It could be maybe he's renting a copier for the office, okay? So that's general office expense, right? Or maybe he's doing like landscaping on his own property. That's general operating expense. But if he specifically rented the equipment for a specific job, that he was like buying, selling, he's doing some kind of service for that particular job, that's going to be cost of goods sold, okay? So for our purposes, for this exercise comes from the general operating expenses section of the course. So that's what we're going to do, okay? Now, in the course, as I mentioned, we match up the chart of accounts to the Schedule C, which is part of the sole proprietor tax filings. And so that's why the picture looks different than what we're seeing here. Okay, so the picture here says rent or lease equipment rental. Ours just says equipment rental. We're just going to leave it for now because it's not part of this exercise. It was part of previous exercise in the course. Okay, all right, so enough of that. Let's move on. We're going to change the description to equipment rental for 1 month instead of 5 days. 1 month. We're going to change the amount to $1,200. And then we're going to hit save and close. Okay? Now, the correct workflow for expenses is to record the expense and then process the bank feeds. That's the correct workflow. Does it always work that way? No. Does it not work that way the majority of the time? Yes. But the correct workflow is to enter the expenses as they happen and then match them in the bank feeds. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go to the bank feeds. Oh, here, let me scroll this part. Okay, so we're going to go, remember the correct workflow is always to enter the expense first. So now we're going to go to transactions, bank transactions. We're going to close this pop-up. And just so you can see it better, I'm going to close this guy so we've got more room here. Okay? All right, so if I scroll down, and by the way, in the course, you've already learned how to match bank feeds and why we do that and all of that good stuff, okay? So here we find our match, okay? Ellis Equipment Rental, 1 match found, and that is going to be a match. Now, the whole purpose of bank feeds is to compare what is happening at the bank. So at the bank, money's coming in, money's coming out, money's coming in, money's coming out, okay? And we want to make sure that we have records of everything in QuickBooks Online. That's the purpose, is to match the bank feeds to the QuickBooks Online record, which is exactly what has happened, okay? Here with Ellis Equipment Rental. This is the perfect scenario. Is it always a perfect scenario? No. And we're going to talk about what happens when it's not the perfect scenario, but you have to talk about this perfect scenario first, right? Okay, so first scenario, perfect. That's exactly the way it's supposed to work, okay? Now, just so we can clear up some real estate, we're going to clear out these other matches. And in the course, you've already learned how to do this so that it's very... And I say that in the exercise. You've done this before, so we'll go through it quickly. We're just going to match that one. We're going to match this one. We're going to filter suggested matches. We're going to select all of them and click accept. And clear the filter. And boom, we're only left with these 4. Okay, this is what we're going to spend the remainder of our time doing. Okay, so what did I just do? Bum, 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 bum. Click accept, click accept. Okay, so now we have this big explanation. And let me see, how do I do this? Let me go back to this guy. I'm going to close this because this is really important for you to read this part here. Boom, boom, boom. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, let's go over this together. Okay. Although the best correct workflow is to add the expenses first, it's very common that the first time you see an amount paid, it will come through the bank feed. Okay? That's very common. More common than actually getting the receipts first. Okay? The owner is often too busy running the business to remember or have the time to keep you in the loop. When this happens, you'll have to use your best judgment. Remember, okay, so here are some key things. If you see a large purchase, typically over $2,500, you must have a receipt. You have to have documentation of large purchases, period, end of story. We talk about that in the course much later. But yeah, large purchases, it's not always $2,500, but typically it's over $2,500, okay? Receipts are ideal for small purchases, but receipt management is a premium service, okay? As a bookkeeper, you do not have to, your job is not necessarily to manage all of the receipts and make sure that there is a receipt for everything. If you are doing that, you should be charging a premium. Like that's part of your services. If you're pricing your services and you say to the business owner, do you want me to manage your receipts? Like then that's an additional charge. Okay. So it is, anyway, so yeah, so you want to make sure that they don't expect you to do that. If they do expect you to do that, then they're charging you for it because it's very tedious and you like have to chase some stuff down. You've got to make sure, okay, that you have every single thing. Remember the fine line of detail. And we talk about this earlier in the course. So that's why it says, remember, not too much, not too little. While it's important to chase down the specifics, be careful not to spend too much time on things that are not of material significance, okay? The materiality principle is something we talk about in the course. It's one of the generally accepted accounting principles. And that is that you don't want to spend too much time on things that are not materially significant, okay? So you have to, as a bookkeeper, you have to find that balance. The ideal thing, yes, you track to the penny, you have every single receipt, it's like boom, boom. But is that possible always in real life? Rarely, okay? And if you are doing that, if you are spending so much time doing that, then it's going to be difficult for you to have additional clients because you just can't have that same level of detail. So make sure you're charging for that level of detail, okay? The owner should have the receipts, but not necessarily in QBO. So in QBO, you may have seen that for the expenses, you have the opportunity to add an attachment. So you can add the receipt right there, but you don't have to. The owner has to have them, but not necessarily attached to QBO. The whole idea is that if there's an audit, you have to be able to, or the business owner has to be able to back up the claim. Like, yes, this actually was an expense, and they have to have that at their fingertips. So you could just throw them in an envelope, have an envelope for each month or have one for the whole year, depending on number of transactions, and pile them in there, and then they've got a big thing to pull out if necessary, okay? Uyi is in Canada, and she says that they have no choice but to have receipts. It's built in the Canada revenue agencies. laws. Okay. Well, there you go. Remember that the owner, not you, is responsible for the claims. Okay, so the owner has to have those receipts. You are not liable if the owner does not have the receipts. So you only chase them down so far. If it's a large purchase over $2,500, I recommend strongly that you one of our people on our tax advisory council has said that she used to, I think that she used to work for the IRS and do, I don't know, she was involved in audits somehow. But, and now I forgot what it was that she said that I was going to make sure and tell you. Anyway, I can't remember now. But you got to have the documentation for the large purchases. Okay. They're responsible for the claims. Okay. If the purchase is from a place that is not obvious, such as Walmart or Amazon, where you could purchase anything, you will need to find out from the owner what the purchase was for. Okay? So some receipts are obvious. If they buy something from Best Buy, well, that's going to be electronics, and that's going to be easier for you to make a determination. But if they buy something from Amazon, you might not know what that could be diapers. Who knows? One of the things we talk about in the course is receipts that are findable. So on Amazon, that receipt is findable. So if you do have an audit, then you can go in. Oh, I remember what Jane wanted you to know is that she said that sometimes bookkeepers are afraid to push the owners, but it's for their own good. Okay? So kind of like my coach, I guess, right? So for things like the $2,500, push them, don't be afraid to push back on the owners. I remember now, that was her advice. But anyway, so get the receipts. If it's obvious, it's less important than if it's one of these places where it could be anything. Oh, I was starting to say about being findable. So Amazon, if you're in an audit, you can go log into Amazon and get the receipt from your account. So some things are findable. Other things, if you just walked into Walmart and got something, you better make sure you keep that receipt. Teresa says, I am a state auditor. Most people have 0 receipts. And when they get audited, they all think it shows on the credit card statement or bank statement. That's good enough. Those audits don't go well for the business owners. Oh, that's interesting. I would love to talk to you more about that, Teresa. Interesting. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay. All right. So a word about bank rules. So we, in the Bookkeeping Accelerator, we do not teach bank rules. We had one, he's an EA who is on our tax advisory council, just go on and on about how awful the bank rules were and how they can just really mess you up. And so I made the decision to not teach bank rules at all and to strongly discourage them, certainly in the beginning. Anyway, the problem with bank rules is that it can result in serious mistakes in your financial records. This is a huge thing that sometimes we have to, when we have cleanup, that we have to do cleanup. It's the result of bank rules that weren't set up correctly. Okay. So we in this course discourage bank rules. All right. So now that I've done all of that talking, let me go back to, let's see, comments. Uyi is recommending a service like DexFetch. Okay. Let's see. So as a bookkeeper, so Dorada is saying, as a bookkeeper, we can encourage them to save their receipts, but what should they do? Keep hard copies in a shoebox, scan them, etc. Scanning is great, but it's time consuming. Who's going to do that? Zero business owners. Zero business owners are going to scan receipts. So if they have to have receipts scanned, then they're going to hire some kind of low-level person. They're going to ask you to do it. You're like, yeah. So yeah. So one of my mentors had said, just like put them in a shoebox, put them in an envelope. Yeah. You have to be careful of like thermal paper versus printed ink, because thermal paper will fade. So yeah. Just you just decide. You just help the owner. You just tell the business owner that they need to do. All right. All right, Billy, I'm going to answer that question at the end because we need to get through this exercise. All right. So let me get back to the exercise here so we can wrap this up, because we still have a number of things to talk about with this thing going on with Craig. All right, where are we? Okay. All right, so bank rules. We already talked about bank rules. All right, so now let's talk about, I'm going to close this. So now we're going to talk about this second purchase. So once I added that one expense, then it says now, oh, you have categorized the that one expense for Ellis Equipment Rental as this. Do you want to always do that? Or do you want to do that for the next transaction too, right? So here, that's what that's saying. And I could say yes. Now, one of the things that we talk about over and over and over in the course is, and you'll see it in the exercise here, is do not click add unless you are 100% certain that there is no corresponding transaction in QBO. The whole point of bank feeds is to match transactions. But sometimes it comes to the bank before you get notice from the business owner, and so you're going to spend a lot of time. The majority of your time actually is going to be in the bank feeds. Now, if you've had this client for a while, you're going to get into a rhythm. You're going to know what they're spending things on. You're going to know where they buy stuff. You're going to know what their business is. Okay. You're going to know this stuff. And so you'll start to recognize things, and you'll know, oh yeah, that's equipment rental. That is, whatever. And so I'm losing my train of thought here. Okay. So, in our case, we can be, I know what I was saying. And you'll know if you entered the receipt, you'll be like, yes, I entered the receipt. And so, yes, I'm going to match. And you'll know, oh, Craig, he gave me the $1,200 one, but he didn't give me the $800 one. Okay. So you'll know that stuff. When you click add, it will automatically create an expense. But, and I'm just going to show you this real quick. Okay. Let me click. This is not the exercise. When I click this, okay, here is how if I just click add, here's how it's going to categorize it. It's going to, this is the bank detail. This is that information that comes across from the bank, okay? And you'll notice that the one thing that is missing, they've added so much to this screen, but what is missing from this screen now is the item description, okay? There's no place for me to type. There's no place here for me to type that it is 2 weeks of rental. Like on the last one, I said it was a month of rental. Let's say this one is 2 weeks. There's no place for me to type that. I could type it in the memo. The memo is for the entire transaction, and the line item description is just for that specific item, okay? If I click add right now, which I'm gonna do, it's not the exercise, I'm gonna click add. I'm gonna go to categorize transactions. And here is, I actually show this in the course, but not in this particular exercise because they've already seen it. But so here is the one, the $1,200 one that I created in advance. And it was matched to this one bank feed. Okay, so here's the one that I created. Look, it has today's date on it. Okay, that's the one I created. This one, it created a new, it wasn't matched, it was added. It actually created an expense. And if I click this, look what it did. It put the bank description as the item description. Well, that may be okay sometimes it's really not okay. Sometimes, like, you want to control what the description is. So that's why in this exercise, we're going to show you a different way to do it, okay? So you'll notice a couple of things. Payment method is not available when you are adding from the bank feed, which may or may not be important depending on who you're paying. And the description still is not there, okay? So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to actually undo. I don't want it to add that transaction. I want to add it myself. And I'm going to go back to and put it back in for review. Okay, so here that is. And so in the exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to actually use, so I'm going to click it, and we're actually going to use this split button. Now, there is no way for me to add that payment method, but I can add a line item description using that split, okay? So now I can say equipment rental for 2 weeks. We'll say it was $800, okay? The reason I have to type in the amount is because this split screen, it allows me to split it over multiple categories if I want to, okay? And then I'm gonna hit split and add. Okay, so now I'm able to save that. All right, remember, and I've got like a million reminders, never add a transaction from the bank feed unless you are 100% certain it doesn't already exist in QBO. We'll talk about in a minute, we'll talk about reasons why it might not be there. But let's take a look at this one, this Hicks Hardware one. Oops. Let's take, I just want to make sure my head wasn't covering it. Okay, so this one is Hicks Hardware, and it did not find a match, okay? So when QBO is looking for a match, okay, remember the whole point of bank feeds, money in on the bank side, money in, money out, money out. And now it's going to look in QBO for a match. It's trying to find a transaction in QuickBooks Online that is that same, and what it's looking for are two things. It's looking for, I'm going to take my, okay, it's looking for two things. It's looking for a transaction that is 90 days older and 20 days after the bank transaction, and has the same amount, okay? So that's all it's going to look for. It doesn't look by anything else. It doesn't look by, payee. It doesn't look by anything else, by the bank detail, nothing. All it does is it says, here's a transaction, here's the date of the transaction, here's the amount of that transaction, and it's going to go search using the date, 90 days before, 20 days after, and the amount. Okay, and it's going to look in the same account, right? So if you accidentally coded it to MasterCard, but actually it was paid with the credit card, it's going to come, or the checking account, it's going to come up in the checking account bank feed, and it's not going to find it because you accidentally coded it to the wrong account. Okay, so it's looking in that same account. Now, you can forget the amount and just look by date. And this is really important because typos with the amounts, super, super, super common. Okay, so that's what, if I click Hicks Hardware, I got to move my head, I think. Oh, no, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay. That's what this button here changed. By the way, I recorded last week my first episode of the UQB podcast. I mentioned I'm now on the podcast with Alicia Katz-Pollock, one of her guest presenters. And we talked about how this button had changed. And it used to say find match, which makes more sense. Match does not make sense. I went on a big diatribe about that. Okay, but anyway, it now says match. And if I click this button, what it's going to do is it's going to go look for transactions that are just in the date range. Okay, so it's ignoring the amount. It's still looking in the same account, okay, but it's ignoring the amount and just looking at this date range, okay? And so this is the transaction that it's looking at. The date of the transaction is 12/4/24. So look how far back it's going now. Previously, it only went back 90 days. Now it's going back a year. Previously, it only went forward 20 days. Now it's going forward a month. Okay, so now it's looking through all of those and saying, so now you with your eyeballs can look and see, do you see anything that could remotely be what this is? And when you do that with your eyeballs, you can see, look, here's Hicks Hardware, and it's $24.36. This amount, this right here is what came from the bank. This right here is what's in QBO, okay? So somebody typed in the wrong amount in QBO, okay? So what we have to do, we can't edit the QBO transaction here, so we have to be creative. All right, so where did we go? Where are we? Here, as you can see, okay, so what we're doing is we're clicking close. Clicking the X to close. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to go find that Hicks Hardware transaction and edit it. So the way that we're going to do that, there's lots and lots of ways to find the transaction. What we're going to do right now is to search by vendor. Okay. And we're going to go to, I'm going to close this again. Need some more real estate on this screen. Okay, so here's Hicks Hardware. I'm going to click Hicks Hardware. And then here's all the Hicks Hardware transactions. And boom, here's that expense. Look, $24.36. And now I'm going to edit it. I'm going to change the amount. Save and close. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to, okay, did all that. Now we're going to go back to the bank feeds. So transactions, bank transactions, and boom, now it's matching. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to match, and we're all done. So I'm going to go back to the big version of this so we can read this very end part, because this is important, which is why I wrote it. Okay. All right. We've now completed processing the money out bank feeds. We'll cover the money in income in a future lesson. Remember, and here I am harping on it again, never add a transaction from the bank feed unless you are 100% certain it does not already exist in QBO. Reasons it might not find a match: The transaction was coded to the wrong bank account. The transaction was entered with the wrong amount. The date of the original transaction was entered as more than 90 days before or 20 days after the date that it came through the bank. And then one final reason, which we're not going to talk about, is that it was already matched to another bank feed record. Okay, so anyway, that is, all right, so that is that. All right, let me go back to the chat here. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. I remember Billy had a question. Okay. What is considered receipt management? I have a client that brings me receipts a couple times a year. I have already categorized the transactions in QuickBooks using my best judgment in order to confirm that I categorized the expense correctly. I do a find to look up the amount and compare it to the receipt. This is a very time-consuming process because there are hundreds of receipts during the year. Any suggestions for best practices? When I say receipt management, what I am talking about is the adding of the receipts to the transaction, like the scanning of it and making sure that every expense transaction is connected to a receipt. That's what I would call receipt management. What you're doing, which is entering the expenses, that's normal. That's normal for a bookkeeper. Many people just use the bank feed to create the expenses as a way to save time. So what I would do is from the bank feed, make sure that you start with the bank feed, then look for the piece of paper. Like that's one way to do it. I don't know which way is going to be easier for you. Either start with the bank feed and then look for the piece of paper to make sure that it matches. Or what I do, I'm obsessed with receipts. So my kids will tell you, my husband too, who's on the call, I'm obsessed with receipts. So I always start with the receipt, enter it, and then match it. That's always what I do. But then the act of scanning it, attaching it to QBO, like that's the extra piece. Like that's the time-consuming piece. If you're gonna do that, then that would be like your premium service, because that to me, like that's the time-consuming piece. The other piece of just entering it into QBO from the receipt, like that's your job. That's the way I look at it. Okay. Maura says scanning receipts works because you deal with small businesses and have few. Okay, but if you're not scalable, like you're going to be the bottleneck. Like you're going to be, if that's what you're going to do, then it will, like, that will slow you down. So you need to charge a premium service for that, or hire somebody who earns less than you that to like do that piece for you. All right. Ui's talking about Canada. She uses Dext or HubDoc. So yeah. And I'm not going to go into it, and I touch on it briefly, but we don't really talk about it in the accelerator, is that QBO does have tools. Like there are tools. When I was creating, remember when we created the expense and I closed this little window that popped up, okay? This is their receipt management solution, is that you can scan receipts, have it auto-populated. My experience, it works moderately well. I don't know that it works well enough for the extra time that it takes. Like I don't know that it saves me actually more time. What's exciting to me about this right here is that it's right here on the expense. So it used to be that if you scanned receipts, it was like a whole different section of QBO, and you had to like go to this other section. You had to, which that section still exists, but you had to go to this other section. You had to open, scan them in. You had to review each one. And then like it was way too much work for like what was necessary. I am super excited about this right here. I haven't actually had a chance. Well, I did try it once and it was moderately successful, but I'm excited about the idea that it is right here, that it's right here. So, anyway, yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm going back to questions. I don't need to be so tiny. Okay. Billy, this is still going back. The business owner is too busy to scan the documents. That's why we have, yep. Yeah, no. Don't ask the business owner to scan them. Zero business owners will scan them. If a business owner has time to scan them, they don't have time to actually do what makes them money, and they won't have time to pay. They won't have money to pay you. So the business owner needs to be doing the things that make the business owner money, like that make the business money. So yeah, don't ever ask them to scan. Now, what you can do, and Corey has suggested this too, since everyone is working remotely, is you can suggest to the business owner that they get a low level person whose only job is to like open mail, scan receipts, scan bills, and whatever. You don't want to pay they shouldn't pay bookkeeper rates for that kind of low level stuff. They should hire somebody who just comes in. And that low level stuff, I mean, it's lower rates. It's easy to find somebody. If that person, leaves, they can easily be replaced, versus a bookkeeper who is, highly trained, knows what they're doing. Like, they shouldn't be doing that kind of like low level type stuff. Okay. So they can have a low level person come in, scan everything, send it to you. And then you, the bookkeeper, that way you can work remotely. You don't have to. I mean, Billy, if you're getting the paper, you must be local, or I don't know, they're sending it to you in the mail or something like that. Okay, let's see. Uyi is impressed with using the split screen. I know, she says, I know to educate clients on the why. Business owners here do not want to be audited because the process is painful without receipts. Well, yeah, same is true here. I will tell you, I have heard, and I've been confirming this with the council members. We have our Acadian Tax Advisory Council, and that if you go into an audit and you are highly organized, then the auditor will trust you and will not dig as deep. If you go in and you're scattered and everything's disorganized and you don't know, one thing from another, then they're going to be suspicious and they're going to take more time doing it. Teresa, I don't know if that's your experience. I mean, Teresa said she's an auditor, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But I've heard that, and the council members have confirmed it. So, all right, the podcast is coming out January 30th, so you don't have to be refreshing. That's going to be my first episode. Kathy says, I use the search function for the amount to help save time when due receipts. Yes, that is another thing you can do for sure. That's another thing. I frequently, I'm trying to think of like what my process is. I want to, what happens for me is like, I'll see it in the bank feed and then I'll think, I'm sure that I put that in already. Sometimes bank feeds, there's duplicates that come across one thing that it's happening less now, but one thing that used to, oh my gosh, drive me nuts was credit cards would put a pre-auth and then like the final charge. And so these things would come across as pre-auth. And then if you used that to create your expense, then when the second one came in, you would have duplicates. It was driving me crazy because then I'd be like, I swear I just did that. And then you have to exclude one of them. That's like beyond this course. I mean, beyond this the scope of this conversation, but yeah, that's the thing. So yes, using the search, you can do that. Anthony says, upsell your services for this. Yes. I mean, if you want, yeah. But again, like it's going to be expensive for them to have you do it. They should hire somebody cheaper, or you have somebody cheaper and then, charge a premium. Like that's another one. Morris says the Snap Receipt mobile feature does not work. Yeah, I've never used it, but I've heard similar things. All right, let's see. Rachel wants to know, can you please tell me, when does the bookkeeping accelerator come out? It's coming out at the end of January. We haven't announced the date yet. We'll be announcing the date soon. And we will also be announcing the price, all of that good stuff. Got to be patient. Thank you so much. Your courses are fantastic. Aw. Yay. Thank you for your kind words, Rachel. Okay, let's see. Jesse says, in the accelerator, will you be addressing what's best for the business from a bookkeeping and analytics perspective in order for the business to make better data-driven decisions often does not conform to what organization the IRS and CPA may want for tax preparation? So that's an excellent point. So we are addressing the fact that the reports that a financial management advisor would look for, so like a CMA versus a CPA, certified tax preparer, or certified. Suddenly, I can't remember what CPA stands for. But anyway, certified management accountant is the other one, and what they do is they look at instead of just filing taxes, certified public accountant. Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's one thing that I've learned since I have been in this industry, which isn't actually that long, is that there are different types of accountants. Like before I was in this industry, I always thought just accountants did taxes, but it turns out that many accountants don't do taxes, and people that do taxes aren't always accountants. So a lot of terminology to learn, but so the person that is doing the taxes, the books need to be prepared in a certain way. It's going to make it easier for the tax preparer, for sure. But we also talk about how you can use your books, adjust your books to help make management decisions, and how that they're not necessarily going to coincide. So yes, we talk about how they don't necessarily coincide. What we don't do is we don't go into detail in this course, this introductory course. We don't go into detail on how to set up the books for the more advisory services like you're talking about. So I guess the quick answer to your question is yes, but at an introductory level. The accelerator is going to be the foundation course for all sorts of more advanced level courses, including a tax-ready bookkeeper certification, which we announced and is coming up, but that's not the accelerator. The accelerator just gets you to a level so that you're prepared for the higher, more detailed, more nuanced things that an accountant would want you to know. All right, hope that answers your questions. All right, that would be a good job for a family. Yes, Lynette, yes. This is the receipt, scanning receipts, yes. Getting that, like the business owner, yes, would be a good job for a family member of the company, like a preteen who can't get a job yet. Yeah, if they can scan the receipts, send them to you, like you can attach them, like that's not a big deal. But yeah, like that whole process is very time consuming. Okay, true, you earn the benefit of the doubt. Oh, I think Teresa's, that's my comment about you have, if you're organized, you earn the benefit of a doubt in an audit versus if you're disorganized. I think, thank you for weighing in on that, Teresa. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, Jane is saying the same thing. I represent people in audits, and the more organized you are, the less work they have to do, and they like that. All right. Okay, Jesse says, when you say match the chart of accounts to Schedule C, do you mean actually reorganize the chart of accounts or just understand exactly where everything feeds into the lines of the Schedule C? We are actually reorganizing the chart of accounts to match the Schedule C. And we're talking about, I mean, that's for sole proprietors. We're talking about like how it's different and all of that. So yeah, so there'll be so we go over the big four, like I mentioned, which is the sole proprietor, the partnership, S Corp, and C Corp. The biggest chunk of time is spent on sole proprietor because it tracks at a more specific level of detail. And then the rest we talk about, okay, now how is this different? All right, so let's see. Joel's sent some links. Thank you. Ryan, any reason to wait on ordering the cleanup course considering the accelerator is coming out soon? Any potential bundles? We have not considered bundles with certainly not during the launch period. We have not considered bundles with cleanup. I mean, who knows? Like there's always potentials, like there's always potential bundles. There's always sales and like all that stuff. I don't know. Our focus right now has not been on that. The cleanup course is a more advanced course. So we expect that you're already at a high level when you take that cleanup course. And we have always said you need to have your level 2 cleanups, your level 2 QBO certification. And we probably will at some point say you have to have we highly recommend you have the accelerator so you have that foundation knowledge. But what am I trying to say? I've done that so many times today. What's wrong with my brain, guys? All right, so we recommend that you have the accelerator. What am I trying to say? We recommend at the cleanup level, it is a high level course. We expect that you already have a high level of knowledge. So some people come in already with that knowledge and then can take the cleanup course and it's just fine. The other thing about cleanup is that it is specific to QBO. It is a QBO cleanup course because it uses QBO tools to be able to do the job. That's what you're learning. So we also recommend that you have a high familiarity with QBO. Like she does not go into any detail. She does not talk to you about, the difference between an invoice and a received payment and a sales receipt. So she expects you to already know that. All right, let's see. Carmela says, how do you scan receipts if QBO took off that feature? They did not take off that feature. I'm not sure what you mean by that. The feature is still there. It doesn't work that great, but it's still there. And you can just scan receipts and then attach them just from an upload. So, yeah. Okay. Did you tell us that the accelerator course would prepare us to take the Intuit Bookkeeper certification exam? Yes. Yeah. It's not the same as our companion courses. So our companion courses for level 1 and level 2 and payroll, which is coming out, are specific to, like, the whole purpose of the companion courses is to guide you through the Pro Advisor Academy and provide an extra layer of training and information, those interactive activities and the practice exercises and quizzes and all of that. So the companion courses like guide you through the Pro Advisor Academy to do that. The Intuit Bookkeeper certification the Bookkeeping Accelerator is not a companion guide to the Bookkeeping Accelerator. Oh my gosh, all these terminology. The Intuit Bookkeeping certification. It's not a companion guide to that, but it will prepare you. There's a whole module on preparing you for the Intuit Bookkeeping exam so that you can take that if you want. All right. Yes, Tony, this great idea. Just a thought, it would be much easier for the owner to take a pic from phone and text it to you. It could be less work for them. Then, yes, that's fine. Also, a lot of times, like things that you're ordering online, you get email receipts, so you can just forward it to them. We actually have a special mailbox here at Acadian that is for things like that, where we just forward them to our Acadian email box that sends stuff like that, and then there's a person that processes that. So, all right. So I think I've got all the questions. Let's move on. As part of the exercise of the week and as part of the gym, you actually get a marketing prompt. Okay, so I started adding marketing prompts to the QBO Gym because I heard so many people say, "Oh, I know I'm supposed to post on social media, but I don't know what to say." Which, by the way, at some point, probably in the cohort, I'm going to teach you what my new executive coach has to say about that, because it is interesting and it's fascinating. It's a little bit brutal and also fascinating. But anyway, so what was happening was people kept saying, "Oh, I know I'm supposed to post on social media, but I don't know what to say." And I thought, why don't you know what to say? Like, you're learning something constantly. So just post about that. And so because we have like all this stuff that you're learning in the gym, I just realized that it made sense to just add marketing prompts. So in the regular gym, as you work through it, you actually earn marketing prompts. So you do a thing and then you earn it. With the exercise of the week, we just give it to you. Okay? So anyway, the marketing prompt for today's exercise is you learned about adding and matching expenses. Here's a sample post. We are calling them QBO Quick Tips because you want to add value when you post things on social media. Like here's a tip. You want to position, the whole idea is to position yourself as an expert. And so you do that by saying, okay, here's a tip about a thing that I know. Okay. So here's your QBO Quick Tip. Are you using bank feeds? The purpose of the feed is to match transactions already in QuickBooks Online. Never, ever, ever, ever add an expense from the bank feed unless you are 100% sure there is not already one in there. Okay, that's huge. Guys, the business owners, this is a huge thing in cleanup. Huge thing in cleanup is like they don't know what they're doing. The business owners do not know what they're doing. So they just click add, and then all of these things don't match up. Okay. So, and then if you're adding expenses, you're showing that you have way more expenses than you actually do. If you are adding income, you're showing way more income than you actually do. You're ending up with duplicates because you've got the QBO one that was there in the first place, and you've got the one that was in the bank, and then you're in trouble. Okay, so if you have been doing this, it's possible you could be creating huge problems in your books that affect your tax liability. Happy to take a look and make sure you're doing it correctly. Okay. All right. So what do you do with these marketing prompts? How do you actually start on social media? How do you get your mind all around this? Well, luckily, we now have every month you can join a cohort of people. We call it the Getting Clients cohort, where we teach a specific method for growing your network, making and strengthening connections, demonstrating your expertise. We don't actually teach you how to complete the diagnostic review, but the whole point is to take actions. We're teaching you how to take action, how to grow your network, how to meet people, how to post on social media. We have training on LinkedIn. We have training on Canva. We have what else? All this other training. I'm losing my mind because apparently my brains are falling out today. But and you get to do this with a group, okay? So you're all supporting each other. You get guidance support, as I said, guidance support, accountability. We also have mindset stuff. If it scares you to your core to post anything anywhere, then this group is for you, because we have partnered with Stacy Lauren. Included. Oh, here's all the stuff that you get to learn: how to set up Calendly, how to set up LinkedIn, how to set up Booksmatch, how to use Canva. We have you brainstorm your personal network. We teach our marketing method. You have all this group support. I forgot I put all this stuff on the website. We teach you how to do all of this stuff and how to get out of your head. So we included is Stacy Lauren's Do the Thing, Find Your Voice Challenge, which teaches you how to get out of your comfort zone just little by little. We're not asking you to dive headfirst into an ice bath, okay? The beauty of what she does is that it just inches you out of your comfort zone, so you gain more and more confidence. And we actually guarantee that at the end of the cohort, so it's a 1 month period of time, that you will have spoken to a prospective client, okay? That you actually will have had a conversation. We can't guarantee that you're going to land that client, because that is up to you. But we can guarantee that this process is going to get you prospects, that's going to get you people to talk to. And if it doesn't, then we actually will give you your money back. Okay. So the course, Joel has put the course in the link. If you're in the gym, then you actually earn discount coupons. If you're in the gym, working in the gym, as you're going through the gym, you're going to earn coupons to take the Getting Clients cohort. You can get, if you do the whole year, you can get $100 off the cohort. And that's because we paired it like that. We paired it like that because we know that the more you work in the gym, the more confidence that you're going to have, and the more you're going to feel like you know what you're doing, the more tools you're going to have to be able to serve your clients. And it's just a perfect synergy. So we recommend, Year of the Gym is the best, but I don't know, people come to us with all levels of experience. So, maybe you don't need it. You can get it. Also, cleanup students, if you're in the cleanup course, then you get $100 off of the Getting Clients cohort. And in the cleanup course, that's where we teach you how to do the diagnostic review. So in the cleanup course, we teach how to do a diagnostic review. and how to present your findings of the diagnostic review in a way that the business owner sees your value and like it's a no-brainer to sign up. Like of course they're gonna hire you. If they don't hire you, then that means that they're gonna come up with another solution. Like for example, maybe they just decide I'm not gonna clean it up. I'm just gonna start fresh. Like that happens. But anyway, so Jane says, I took the cohort. It was great. I have 2 new clients and 2 more meetings with clients today and Monday. Dang, right on, Jane. Lindsay, grab that screenshot. We want to use that. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, Jane. Woohoo. All right, let's see. Rosalba says, for the cleanup course, I wish we could have a physical classroom. It's easier for me. Yes. I miss physical classrooms. I miss physical classrooms so much. You've heard me lament about that on this call today before, where I miss the energy. I miss looking over somebody's shoulder and being able to guide them. I miss writing on the board. Like just going back, like writing stuff on the board. Yes, I could pull up, not here because I'm using eCam, but if I were on Zoom, yes, I could have a digital whiteboard. It's just not the same. It's not the same as having a board, whether it's a whiteboard or an actual chalkboard. Yeah, I miss those days. Anyway, all right. What else? Rosalba says, I miss teachers. Yeah. All right, I think that's it, guys. I think that I have covered everything. Let me just make sure my little chat thing. The chat has been working pretty well today. Last week or the week before. And I had to, I was always having to click buttons in order to see you, but today it seems like I'm getting them pretty in. Okay, all right, well, that's it. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Next week, focus hours. Yes. Oh my gosh, Lindsay, how could I forget? We are so when we did the last cohort, we added a component to it, which everyone said was like the most valuable part. And even Uyi said earlier in the call how valuable this was to be able to get together. We added this component called focus hours, and it is 10 hours per week. You can choose one of 10 or all 10 where you can get in a room, it's a Zoom room with other people. And you know how we're always so much more accountable to other people than we are to ourselves, right? So so you can get in a room with other people who are working on just working on stuff, whether it's working through certification courses, working through the gym, working through cleanup, working on your marketing, or actually reaching out and doing the marketing stuff, like just an opportunity to get together. You hop on, Lindsay posts the hours in the locker room, and you can choose from whenever. You just show up and you start the hour by setting your intention. This is what I'm going to do for this hour. And then everyone goes silent, you do it, and then you come back and you say that you were like accountable, like you did your thing. And then Lindsay tells me there's always a time to ask questions and that kind of stuff too. So last time we included this as a part of the cohort, and it was so popular that we decided we're going to open it up to everybody. And the idea was that we were going to charge a small fee for people to do this. And things have just been so crazy that I never got my act together to actually set up a sales page, like actually set up a way for you guys to pay for it. So I said, this was so valuable. I don't want it like my bottleneck to deprive you of this. So we decided that for the month of January, everyone gets the focus hours for free. Like Lindsay, we're not making money on this. We're losing money because we're paying Lindsay to be there. So Lindsay is there and just available to just hold you accountable. And if you guys have spent any time with her, you know, like she's just so peppy and fun and encouraging, and she'll just keep you organized and keep you going. So it is, so she posts in the locker room. And at some point, I mean, we're halfway through January. I don't know when I'm ever going to get it. So it's free. All right. So, all right. Somebody asked a question about, let's see. You're welcome. Is there a code for the cohort? So yes, Joel maybe can put it in the link, or, oh yeah, it's right below you, and Lindsay put it in. So there's a link to pay for the cohort. The cohort we're filling up. I mean, January is, you don't want to join January. It's coming up for February. So we're filling up February right now. Rosalba, there is no price for the focus hours. So it's in the group. Lindsay posts, as she just posts, it's pinned in the group actually. So if you go into the locker room, right in the featured section is all the information about the focus hours. Uyi says, I have to go back on this page. Uyi says, my focus hour accomplishment, I started January, 30% completion of the gym. In less than 10 days into the focus hours, I've completed more than 40% of the gym. Learning every day for at least 1 hour was my goal this month. Exactly. So that's all you have to do is just show up for an hour and then you can, hit. So that's great. Yes, Lindsay is amazing. Lindsay is great. Okay. All right. I think that's it, guys. All right. Let's go. Rock the weekend. I got to get back to working on the accelerator. It is so fun. And I can't wait. You guys are going to love it. And anyway, that's it. You guys have a great weekend. I can't wait to hear your success story.